Okay, hello. I'm streaming the Stanley Parable on the PS5 because I'm an idiot like that. It's more like because, I'm too paranoid to run shit on my computers. So, why not? Hold on, am I coming in? Okay, yeah. Alright, I played the regular, I played the, just a bit of a backstory. I played this when it was a mod for Half-Life 2, and then I had like the full version of the game. I still have it. I mean, of course, I played the full version of the game, and that was kind of neat. And now I'm playing this version years later. I do like how Stanley is rocking like, I guess that's a Macintosh 2 looking computer. Like, yeah, it looks like a Macintosh 2. It's pretty nice though. The keyboard doesn't really say Macintosh 2. But I mean, it's got the weird like dual floppy and stuff. It's basically kind of the Macintosh 2. Let's begin. Yeah, let me not be a nerd. Oh
This
no,
is the story of a man named Stanley.
we bored someone.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alright. Let's play the game. Okay, so X is to interact. Not much into console first-person games.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh my god, I can crouch. They didn't... Wait a minute, did they... Oh, they did. Okay. You could have it simple, which doesn't do much. Simple, not simple, simple, not simple, simple, not simple.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
It looks like Windows 3.1, and that looks like an IBM PS1. There's another Macintosh 2 looking computer. Maybe those are IBM PS2s. I could never tell the difference. Because I'm an idiot. I've seen those in like a community college. Yeah, I mean that's totally Windows 3.x or whatever. 420, 418. Yeah, good old 420 gets his own room. 424, 425. Interesting. Let's go and... Oh, I hope everyone's enjoying this. So how's everyone been lately? I had nothing better to do, so I decided to play this game.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
First playthrough, let's do the door on the left. We're 12, we're 11.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
How to not get fired. I could have used that at my last job. I ended up keeping that job for a record 2 days. Okay, I've kept jobs longer than that, but... yeah, I had that job for 2 days, and that was fucking it. It just let me go for a bullshit reason. That's another story, though. Yeah, broom closet. Let's follow the script.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, they're rocking a Macintosh 2. I would place the period for this around like early 90s, late 80s maybe.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Look at that lighting. Yeah, the original was on the Source engine. They moved to Unity for whatever reason. I guess... Oh my god, I thought this was a bottomless pit. I'm sorry. I don't know, I guess because it was easier and Source is a bit outdated.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
All right.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Wow.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
All right.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ooh. 104 got fired. 601, I guess, got fired or something. Yeah, I would guess that's 601. What else could it be?
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never.
I have no legs.
It was unthinkable.
It's not one of those games, I guess.
Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
I can't program worse shit, so I don't know what the hell that is. Oh. Ooh, Jesus. That was loud. Did I win?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will
God,
be
I wish
his.
I were happy.
And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Really showing off the power of the PS5. I mean,
Stanley
then again,
felt
it's not a
the cool breeze
PS5
upon
game.
his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
We did it. That's the game. Beat the game. See? Trophy said so. And another, whoa, what? Back here?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
420. Back. That's a fucking Counter-Strike source plant. God, I hope Valve got royalties. Input received. Okay. I think that's another side quest. But okay, maybe they aren't.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Yeah, broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Oh. Okay,
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Broom, broom, I want broom. Broom, broom, broom. Broom, broom, broom. Broom, 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 broom,
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet.
Broom, broom,
he
broom.
wasn't even doing anything.
Broom.
At least if there was something
Broom,
to interact with,
broom,
he'd be justified
broom.
in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Not on for affinity right now. Broom, 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 broom.
Are you really still
broom,
in the broom closet?
broom,
Standing around doing nothing?
Broom.
Why?
Broom.
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
I just want to hold the broom, damn narrator. Broom. Broom.
You do realize
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
annoying.
choice or anything in here, right?
It's never funny the
If I'd
first
said
time either.
Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope
I'm
your
not a
friends find
Redditor,
this
you idiot.
concerning.
Right.
Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid. He
Hey.
probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Well, that's gonna raise age rating.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
Oh
You
no.
got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed in front of your screen. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in
You're
video
good
gaming,
because you don't
so that the
don't
irony
explain
and
shit.
insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
No. Yeah, that busing is really fucking annoying, but I'll stay. I'll take that over whatever. Okay, I wasn't trying to get a trophy, but okay. Do I get a trophy for this? Okay, fine.
Second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No. Ooh. Red light.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because
Yeah, I
he
wonder what
believed
anime they
everyone had
watched.
vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Huh?
Now the voice was describing itself, being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently,
Stanley have
and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Okay, now this is just an accurate, portrayal of sleep paralysis.
Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment,
I've had this experience
and my wife,
once.
and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Oh no. Car, get me out of here. Is this
Stanley
GTA?
began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What the fuck?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Okay. I love how the SSD on the PS5, you know...
All of his co-workers
Don't
were gone.
shut up, narrator.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Huh. Okay. Ooh.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
I don't know. I don't know.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Spud.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Hey, that was last year.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Might as well get my
This
money's
sounds
worth.
delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Also, I got this on sale, so...
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
See, unlike Nintendo, Sony actually, like, has stuff on sale.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
I was really scared that, like, you know...
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe...
Haven't made it yet, narrator.
Tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Right here.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Aw, yeah, jumping. You can jump. So the trophy lied. You can jump in this game. Oh, bullshit. I didn't know it was a finite
Is that it?
resource.
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this
It's
is
better
new
than
content,
most
then I could
games
just
now.
read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Sure. There's the CSS plant.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley?
Yeah, I
This is
see.
what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to
Get
make
the
an easy
joke,
dollar.
guys?
And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Yeah. Okay, I love how it was like so immediate. Something's different. Yeah, remember when it looked like that?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay. Alright. Why is the resolution getting smaller?
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Cool. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
I don't know, 2013, yeah, that was like when people wanted to kill me. But enough about that. I'm not going to be like a certain person. I remember playing this when it was like on Mod TV and shit. Oh shit, I could totally get the fucking, like, don't play for 5 years achievement on the original. What's this? Little Stanley, oh no, someone died. There's a body count.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created.
Mod TV,
that's how
that's
grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
I was gonna see if there was a dig button. I guess there is no dig button. That would have been like a blast from the past. You are playing the Stanley Parable. What's this, Garfield? Hey, there's Hammer. There's a car. There's a iMac. Greatest wealth is memory. It's never the end is never ever the end is. That's what it says. Your number is 29. Top 10 memories. Top 10 juiced up players.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All
so some woman with schizophrenia.
In pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom.
Some woman who inhaled the
couldn't
kitty
resist
litter.
the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Can I see what's on the back? I can't fucking see that. It's like they know. Oh. What? Game? Game? Oh no. Oh no, I can't jump.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here.
Steam?
Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Hey, forklift. I guess we're not forklift certified. Soidified. God. That shouldn't be a big word for me to say. Hey look, another negative review that I can't read. That's funny.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
Yeah, you are.
You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh,
yes.
Goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with.
Terse.
You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Too bad.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Alright.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto.
Shut up.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on how exactly pressurized gas works. Perhaps that would have been a smart thing to check on before I went on about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel
I'm
quite
stuck with this
certain that there was
narrator
one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some
Yes, I have the
sort.
power to skip.
Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
I'll do it.
You've just been frozen
Come on.
there. I don't know why the
Button,
skips are
button,
getting longer,
button.
but they're... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think
You
it's
never
been a
respond
week.
to me,
Or 2 weeks.
bastard.
I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking, and you saying nothing.
I say
Would
something.
you think that it's exactly the same as
You can
always?
vouch for me,
Doesn't
viewers.
that
I
feel
say
like what
something,
we've
right?
already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That...
The fuck?
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel.
Shut up. He's gone. Not good. Silence. You can really notice the hum of the button. Ugh. Okay, that is, like, very annoying. It's okay over here. But, let's push that button.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoan, they scream, they gnash.
Boop.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Looks like something leaked. What the? Okay. Skip. Hey, daylight. Finally. How's this even still powered? Because I don't think they'd be paying their electric bill. Maybe it's like those like abandoned powered buildings or whatever, where they just don't bother shutting down the power. We're in Bridgeport. Nice ambience. Not much to do here, though. Let's check over here. Not much to do. The ladder has been knocked over. Alright, button. Skip! Get me out of here. Ooh. Button? I don't think the button's gonna work anymore. How much did I fucking skip? I can't get up on it. Well, let's walk from this, I guess. Alright. What the hell?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I as well save on electricity.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
All right. Oh shit. New content. Ooh.
Oh, good. You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Okay, first it's midnight, so that means I should check something. Oh. It's nice. Okay. The new content. Okay, so it ends there. Alright.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So
Yeah.
forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Whoa.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few
modern
minor
computer.
additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
God damn it, I want a drink. Give me a drink.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Hey, a laptop. Yeah, I guess it's Windows. Two.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham Asylum 2, Divinity Original Sin 2, Doom 2. That was pretty alright. Doom 2 was a pretty good game, though. I mean, Doom 1 is probably better designed. Aladdin 2, Dark Souls 2, 2... I didn't really invest in this, but whatever. Hey, a new content bus. Beep, beep, motherfucker. Let's get out of here. Get on the new content bus. 2222. We're doing number 2 here.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Oh God. Hear your name in the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Hi,
Just
I'm
play
Jim.
along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If
Yeah.
so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yeah!
Yes!
I'm
you
Jim!
see? What a
Heard
thrill!
my name.
What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
I still Jim.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Okay, if you say so.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Oh God, phone call. Is there a phone call? Man, who could be calling at this hour? Okay, the phone did not ring. The bucket, the reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well,
There's a-
I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem.
Bucket. Who's got
It's
the bucket?
Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill
There
your
it
mind
is.
and your heart. It's true.
Give me the bucket. Give me
As
the
long as you
bucket.
hold on
Give
to
me the bucket. Give me the
many
bucket.
disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution
How
for
long have
me
I been
than
streaming?
actually redesigning the game to be less
an hour.
uncomfortable. Can you imagine
Not
what a
long
pain in the
enough.
ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on.
Bucket, give me the bucket.
Try. Can you feel it? The glow
Yeah.
of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
Yeah.
I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they?
Yeah.
All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Alright.
Does anyone
Feel
give
so
out awards
reassured.
for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Can't fool me, that's a source model. No
Okay,
screenshots.
I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Happy 12th birthday. I'm sure there's a lot of, like, Oh. What about the office workers? Surely there's some office workers who turn 12.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Okay. Look at those loons. Now what?
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
I'll take it. Jump circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back
Ooh.
for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle.
Oh, give me more jumps.
I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Jesus Christ. Come on, I want to jump, man. The map. The Mac. Free new and easy trophy. I can't believe it's that simple. It just works. Okay, free trophy. I
Now,
mean,
here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
this is such bullshit. Alright, Bucket, let's... At least I'm reassured.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
I don't know if I want to go to an infinite hole. Merchandise. I already got the bucket. Hey, merchandise! Merchandise! Welcome to the showcase 2. New features, new content, new game! New content. Part 2, the compendium. Wow, new content. Enjoy the new features.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, Well, we'll figure that out later.
Okay. Okay, so that's the bucket. You already have the bucket. What does, settings world champion. Okay.
This is the story of a...
I forget, like, was that like the thing where you had to like set everything or whatever? I'm not deleting my game data. Collectibles, infinite hole. Exit is over there. Can you find them? Can you find them? Okay.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Hey, there's like 6 of them. Collect them all. Okay, so there's 6 figurines.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
I suppose that's the exit. Okay, I guess I'm going into Infinity
Stanley,
Hole.
here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
I'm pretty sure Portal had that. Oh no, this was a mistake.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great! Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Okay, so that wasn't a mistake. I suddenly have a craving for food. I'm such a fat ass. I need to stop having cravings. Maybe I should try Noom White. But, I mean... Yeah, don't you have to pay for that?
All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Hey, a suitcase. Briefcase or whatever. screenshots, huh?
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Hey,
Well,
jump.
I mean, there's potential here, right?
Get me down there.
Sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much
Figurine.
better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Okay. Whoa. Well, let's play the sequel.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk.
Still rocking the Macintosh 2.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Oh.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Hello, bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Wow.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
All right. Okay.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? What? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next
I mean,
one.
it could be a bucket. I mean, if you tilt it a bit, it'll be
Is
a
this
bucket.
a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket.
Yeah, I'm smart.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha. Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Can I get out of here?
Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you
Yes.
trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
Yes.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago
Nice
I could answer these
reflections.
questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, Here we go.
Oh no.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
All right.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Bucket.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Oh, thank you, Bucket. All right.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
Oh.
The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
All right.
He
Yeah.
found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you
shut
come
up.
across one of these beautiful figurines.
Shut up. Shut up. Thank you. Yeah, I guess games have to, like, warn for sensitive content now, which... Okay. Thought that was what the SRB rating was for, but whatever. I hate printers. I mean, with how, like, expensive printer ink is, I mean, it might as well be fucking blood. It might as well be, like, Queen Elizabeth's blood.
Okay, this is day number 295, tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get me. What's that? Who's there?
Hello? That's not good. Hey, there's another
The meeting
watcher.
room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Hello, other watcher.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Remember Counter-Strike? Huh. Interesting. broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Oh, I guess he got bored. It's you and me now, whoever you are.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Hey!
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Can't be that hard. Whew. Should I get a weighted blanket soon? I heard those things are awesome.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate.
I have a down
It would be all
comforter.
Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Oh, God.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the Bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the Bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
All right. Off! Ooh.
Stanley and the Bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the Bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The Bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait, what was happening? Why had the door stopped?
Oh no.
Was Stanley and the Bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the Bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the Bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the Bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the Bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious Bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the Bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my Bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out. Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Okay.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace? Its subtle charm? No. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
Hey.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see, there's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Game, you can't fool me. Those are Half-Life sounds.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Dead rat. Dead rat. Skid, Nicho, Nacho, Voila. Mussolini. Oh no. Wow, I'm like the last one. I have friends on PSN. Oh no, did the game bug out on me? Game? Game? Oh no. Yeah, this feels like this shouldn't be fucking happening. And like, the narrator isn't like saying anything. Well, let's begin it again.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Yeah, weather.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms
you
again,
found it.
he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anmarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anmarines. None of us can.
Can't read it.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort.
Let's not do
And
that.
that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come
Whoa,
from this. Who
bucket.
knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
Bucket, where are you?
Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
He had to find the bucket. He had to return
Bucket,
to his
bucket,
old friend.
bucket.
It was
Who's
the
got
only
the
way
bucket?
to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along.
Oh my
It was
god.
incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh, come on.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work. for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Whoops. Okay.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
I think I've had enough of this game for tonight. I'll return to this. Hope to see you soon, guys. Oh, whoa. It's been like 2 hours. Okay, see ya. Yeah, I want